Hi, I'm Chuck. I'm coming to you from the banks of the Delaware River in Bridgeport, New Jersey.
Hey guys, Steve White here, coming to you from the Ohio River Valley. I'm right on the border of Kentucky and Indiana.
And we are two guys that are not chopped liver. You know, a little bit about everything, but not that much. The first topic that I wanted to talk about was this interesting article that was written in the New York Post by this Andrew Court guy. And it was published on yahoo.com in their sports section. And it was talking about how they have these anti-sex beds that they have sent to Paris, for the Paris Olympics. And it's kind of interesting because they say that these Olympic athletes admitted to having like orgies during the competition there. And it was kind of interesting to me. This one particular athlete said that he had more sex during his time as an Olympian than at any other time of his life. And he said it was like a 2-week span that he was there for the Olympics. And it's just, to me, it's kind of interesting. And, what they're doing is they're using these beds. They suggest that these beds are going to deter the Olympic athletes from having sex. Okay. And so, I guess they figured that these athletes that can contort their bodies in so many different ways, these prime athletes that are in amazing peak condition, will never figure out a way to push the beds together or to like have sex in other ways, like maybe on the floor, on the balcony, maybe on this little like wardrobe thing. Who knows? Maybe even standing on top of the fan there, because I imagine a gymnast could do something like that. I think what they could really do is to just like have any athlete just walk around wearing a helmet and an orange vest like this guy, and nobody will have sex. Okay, so
That's right.
Steve, we're going to talk about this for about 5 minutes, and I wanted to ask you. All right, I'm going to start the timer now, Steve. So tell me, do you think that this is something that is really important for the Olympic Committee to be focused on, like deterring Olympic athletes from having sex? What do you say?
Chuck, it reminds me of high school, except in a whole nother level. It's like the gym, it's like the hall monitor, trying to make sure that everybody walks in the hallway. It
Yeah.
seems like
The Olympic Committee is like, if we can't have sex, you guys can't either.
Exactly. So I think that's what's going on, and I don't think it's justified. But do I think it's going to work? Absolutely not. We're talking about super athletes in the prime of their lives. I say, let them go at it. We need more of these types of people.
Well, why do you think it's so important for the Olympic Committee to deter athletes from doing this? I mean, this is like an amazing achievement, and they're going to be in Paris, of all places. Why not live it up and let them, be human?
I agree, Chuck. As a lifelong hedonist, who am I to deny anyone their joy? But obviously, if they are representing their nation, maybe orgies is going a bit far, or maybe not. But just maybe be low key. Maybe being low key is what is missing here. So I don't think they can prevent it.
It's kind of interesting to me that these guys, they work really hard. They train all their lives, and they pretty much want them to sleep on a fruit roll-up, Why not
sleep
give
on
them
a
like a
fruit roll?
decent bed to sleep in? Maybe even at least give them a water bed, something that's comfortable. Yeah.
If you're an Olympic athlete, you deserve, and your body needs a sleep number bed. I mean, you need tip top mattress.
Yeah.
You've earned it.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah. I mean, I guess it's something that they should have a chance to enjoy. But I do understand that, like maybe on the flip side, it's like, okay, well, they're supposed to be there representing their countries. They're not supposed to be there to, go and, have sex with as many people as possible.
Whose great aunt is speaking? You know what I mean? Like, who's saying that? Someone's grandma or great aunt. No one else is saying that. Everyone else,
Mhm.
we're just jealous that we're not there, Chuck.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like this. I mean, sometimes I don't even realize that the Olympics are happening. You know,
That's right.
but if they announced that they were going to give out medals for athletes that go the longest without having sex, then you know
Ooh,
what? Maybe that would be the way to go. I mean, you know,
right.
I mean, heck, a
Yeah,
lot of a
yeah.
lot of average people would be able to compete for that. You know.
Heck yeah. I mean, I'd have a couple title belts myself in there, after the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, I
you
think I would
know.
know a couple of world record holders.
Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, I do find it interesting that trying to prevent it, though, it seems like such a weird thing for them to fixate on, for the committee
Mhm.
to fixate on. I think that you have a good point. They're representing their nations and their countries, but we also have to take into consideration that these are young, beautiful superstar athletes at the prime of their lives with all the hormones that implies. And I don't think that the committee should try, as long as it's not unethical, as long as they're not behaving unethically, and there's, as long as it's all consensual and
Mhm.
over 18, I say let it rip, let's go.
It'd be crazy, like if they ended up doing that, and then like all the athletes ended up being really awful.
I bet you that would,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe
You don't
they
think that?
need sex for that motivation. You
Well,
know?
think about it, Chuck. I mean, if you heard an Olympic athlete say, yeah, when I made it to the Olympics, I was having orgies, you as a
Yeah.
young, man, and you're thinking, man, I want to be a superstar and everybody to worship me. And just one of the extra tips is all the women.
So tell me, do you think it's really important for the Olympic Committee to try to deter Olympic athletes from having sex? What do you think? Put your comments into the comment section. I'd love to hear what you think.
Awesome, Chuck. So your topic was amazing. So, you know, something that I often think about is about whether this mainstream narrative that we've been told about history is actually true. Recently different people have come out saying that they disagree with this narrative that humans and the first civilization began in Sumeria and Mesopotamia, and that, um, they were the first ones to domesticate animals, and now there are some people pushing back, and they're using different uh, pieces of evidence like Gobekli Tepe and different megaliths that kind of are in conflict with this narrative, as well as the Sphinx and the pyramids. There's a lot of controversy around those. So I guess my question is, was there a great civilization, this Atlantean civilization, before Mesopotamia? Or was Mesopotamia really the beginning? Have humans really only been like you and me for like 5,000 years? Is that possible? And is it possible that in 5,000 years, maybe 7,000 max, we've gone from the wheel to artificial intelligence? What is that? So, what's your take on that, Chuck?
Think about this a lot, and it's I think really it's it's difficult to know what is real anymore. You know, I've always been fascinated by these topics, and of course, in school, we learned that like civilization started around the time of Sumer and Mesopotamia, right? Or bedrock with the Flintstones, depending on which school you went to. Um, so I think that as as time goes on, it makes you wonder why these stories keep getting flipped around, or like why there are different changes to this. And I think that there are some really good perspectives that, and as you said, some of like the Graham Hancocks and some of the other guys that have presented information to have us believe that there were things that happened before Sumer and Mesopotamia. And to be honest, man, I think that there is a lot about our, I wouldn't say our history, but Earth's history, because like maybe we can break this up into like human history, and then whether or not we want to talk about the possibility of there being humans before, or canines, or what. And I'm always fascinated by the topic of Antarctica, because a lot of people say that Antarctica has not always been this sheet of ice. They say that there might have been, it might have been as green and lush as other parts of the world, the modern world. And so, who's to say what is real anymore? It's
That's
hard
right.
to. I mean, like we see this happening day in and day out. Misinformation. I know that word is thrown around a lot, and whether you admit it or not, I mean, like both sides do it.
Oh
The
yeah,
government
yeah.
does it,
No,
media
but at
does
this
it.
point,
Yeah.
though, Chuck, like you said, if I feel like so many of the things that I used to believe is fact are now
Hmm.
up in the air as like, is it really fact? Now, obviously, I know that some people take it as far as like flat Earth, right? And I don't know if we should go that far with it. But I do think that it's important to question some of these narratives and try to get to the bottom of it, because I don't think Darwinian evolution explains human consciousness and explains the situation that's going on our planet.
Hmm.
And for me, the ancient alien theory seems a lot more, plausible, that consciousness was seeded on this planet. So I don't
But
know, man.
it's amazing though, because when you go down that rabbit hole, right? You think, sometimes some of the flat earther stuff is like, you know what? That's not that bad. And then you hear the hollow earth stuff, and it's like, hey, you know what? That's not that
Yeah,
bad either. But then you hear like, oh, are we in a computer simulation? And it's like, you know
right.
what? That makes a lot of sense. Or is
It
this a
does make a lot of
hologram?
sense.
Is this a
Right,
hologram? Are we somebody
right,
else's dream? Are you,
right.
there are so many amazing things out there. And you know what? I, at the end of the day, Steve, I used to listen to Coast AM all the time. I used to work until late at night, and that was what I grew up on back in the '90s and early 2000s, before what we had like with what we can access now on the internet. And at the end of the day, it was thought provoking stuff. It was entertaining, and maybe it could lead to some great conditional questions like what would happen, what would have happened, is that possible, things like that. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like really hard to accept any of this as 100% fact or real, because you don't know if we're being manipulated or not.
No, for sure we're being manipulated,
Yeah, yeah.
but we don't know by whom and why.
But we do know that we shouldn't trust everything that we hear. You know what I
Right,
mean? But
right.
it's interesting to consider. And I think was it Buddha or someone, I think is one of their teachings is like, you shouldn't continue to ask so many questions, because it's impossible to know everything. You're not going to know everything. So you don't have to waste so much energy thinking about those things. But at the end of
Mm.
the day, well, oh, that was our timer. Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, it's very interesting for discussion. And
Yep.
and it makes you wonder, like, is it important for us to know the truth? Do we really need to? You know?
Not for this dimension of existence, but it would be nice to know what's beyond this physical material life and world,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what's in store. So, guys, let me know what you think. I'm interested in seeing your point of view. Do you think that consciousness was seeded onto this planet? And do you think that Mesopotamia really was the first civilization, or is there something else going on here? Something that we might not understand? Put it in the comments. Get back to us.
So yeah, like, share, comment, and please subscribe to Steve's channel, my channel, and let's see if we can get something special going on here. Thank you for watching. See you around.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao, ciao.